Welcome to my Formula 1 show. My name is Divan Erasmus. Here I talk about Formula 1 motor racing and all its glory and ingloriousness. You must be asking yourself, why should I listen to this guy? Well, before you judge me too much about what you think about me, let me quickly tell you why I believe you should give me a chance. Well, I was a Formula 1 fan at a very young age. I was, as so many others, they dreamed about being race car drivers. And I was no different. I also dreamt about being a race car driver and being a hero, being the fastest person alive. Well, unfortunately, as you can guess, that didn't happen, and it didn't come true. However, working overseas, as I've worked in so many countries, and being able to watch the most advanced racing motorsport, known as Formula 1, I was given a chance to experience my passion of cars and motors. So what do I mean with that? Well, basically, I was overseas working in countries, and those countries just so happen to be hosting Formula 1 races, and I've been to England, and I've been to Bahrain, I've been to Abu Dhabi, and I've also been to Singapore. I didn't actually work there, I just traveled there. So yeah, what I want to say is, I remember waking up very early in the morning to see my hero Mika Häkkinen race Michael Schumacher in Suzuka, Japan. So if you know the time differences overseas, it does make us wake up very early for some races or make us stay up late for some races, and that is what I experienced, especially with Suzuka Japan race being held, and it was one of those races and those racetracks that you just had to watch. Well, I also had my school bag that I painted in the colors of Mika Häkkinen's car, as you can see on the image, with the McLaren livery on the bag with the red and black. And well, I tried my best to keep close track of what's happening in Formula 1, and I did as much as I could. I watched Formula 1 Grand Prix live in Silverstone, the old original F1 Spit Straight, and I also watched F1 in Bahrain. I watched F1 in Singapore, and I was also at the racetrack in Abu Dhabi not so long ago, about 2 years ago. So as you can see, I've been all over the place for a while. And why do I think you should actually listen to me is because I've been a driver for a hotel in the past where I drove the latest 7 Series BMWs to pick up none other than F1 driver Rubens Barrichello. I have 4 different international driver's licenses, and 2 of them are from countries hosting annual Formula 1 races till this date. I've basically seen Michael Schumacher on the racetrack, of course, when he was racing, and I also saw Felipe Massa face to face, David Coulthard face to face, Lewis Hamilton face to face, Rubens Barrichello face to face, and they've all stayed at the hotels that I worked for before, and I have had the privilege to share some conversations with some, and even gotten Rubens Barrichello's autograph at one point. I hope this gives you enough reason to hear me out when I talk about the passion that I have for Formula 1 and motorsport and cars in general. So if it's fine with you, let's begin. Today we're going to talk about what is Formula 1. So just quickly want to show you my driver's license, Singapore photos, and a neat little GIF creative graphic I made to show all the places that I've been, even though that's not updated. Just some things that I can show you that I've experienced and done. So now we're going to continue with what I was going to start with from the beginning, and that is, what is Formula 1? Today we're going to talk about what is Formula 1. Well, in layman's terms, and what I can read off this website, is Formula 1, FIA Formula 1 Championship, also Formula 1 or F1, is the highest class of single-seat auto racing that is sanctioned by the Fédération Internationale de Automobile, which is French for FIA, and Federation of International Automobile. So the formula designated in the name refers to a set of rules with which all participant cars must comply. The F1 season consists of a series of races known as Grand Prix, from French originally meaning great prizes, held throughout world on purpose-built circuits and public roads. The result of each race are evaluated using a point system to determine 2 annual world championships, one of the drivers and one for constructors. The racing drivers, constructor teams, track officials, organizers and circuits are required to be holders of a valid super licenses, the highest class of racing license issued by FIA. Formula 1 cars are the fastest road course racing cars in the world, owing to very high concerning speeds achieved through the generation of large amounts of aerodynamic downforce. Formula 1 cars race at speeds of up to 360 kilometers, 220 miles per hour, with engines currently limited in performance to a maximum of 15,000 revolutions per minute. The cars are capable of lateral acceleration and excess of 5 Gs in corners. The performance of the cars is very dependent on electronics, although traction control and other driving aids have been banned since 2008, and on aerodynamic suspension and tires. Formula 1 has radically evolved and changed through the history of the sport. While Europe is the sport's traditional base and hosts about half of each year's races, the sport's scope has expanded significantly and increased number of Grand Prix are held on other continents. F1 had a total global television audience of 527 million people during the course of 2010 alone. Grand Prix racing began in 1906 and became the most popular type international in the second half of the 20th century. The Formula 1 group is the legal holder of the commercial rights, with the cost of designated and building mid-tier cars being of the order of $120 million. Formula 1's economic effect and creation of jobs is significant. Its financial and political battles are widely reported. Its high profile and popularity have created a major merchandising environment, which has resulted in great investments from sponsors and budgets in the hundreds of millions for constructors. Since 2000, the sport's spiraling expenditures have forced several teams, including manufacturers' work teams, into bankruptcy. Others have been bought out by companies wanting to establish a presence within the sport, which strictly limits the number of participant teams. So I'm not gonna go further into detail with that, but what I'm gonna say is any minor information that you might not know, which I'm gonna do and share with you right now, is Formula 1. As you can see on the right, just next to the YouTube screen on the left, is a logo of Formula 1's official, trademark and logo that you would see if you want to know if it's original Formula 1 or not. It's a single seater, that's a category. It's international, so it happens internationally all over the world, not just 3 or 4 countries like some of the races I've seen of some of international races, but actually it has a total of, I believe, 20. Let me just make sure of that. I have it here, so let me just quickly get to that. So here it is. So it's got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 races. It's got a total of 20 races, and why is that thing popping up? Not sure. Okay, so it's got a total of 20 races on the calendar for 2015, which is this year, people. And the first inaugurational season was in 1950. The drivers, there are normally 22 drivers with 11 teams and 11 constructors, which means that each team is its own constructor in its own name. Engine suppliers are Ferrari, Mercedes, Renault and Honda. That's for the 2015 season. So, and also the tire supplier is Pirelli. There have been Michelin, there have been Goodyear tires used, there have been Bridgestone tires used. So, I believe if you're lucky enough that your company should be chosen to supply tires to Formula 1, I believe you would probably make a lot of money, which is a good thing for most people, seeing that money talks. Money makes the world go round, some say. And last year the world champion is Lewis Hamilton, which I have to congratulate. He did a very good job. His teammate could never actually physically pass Lewis, as far as I can remember, except from the pits. And Lewis has always, with each race that he was strong in, he showed that he could pass his teammate, which proves to me that Lewis is worthy of having the title of Drivers' World Champion. And the constructor is of course Mercedes, which is Lewis Hamilton's team. And yes, Mercedes do have many teams that they supply the engines to. However, each team has their own specific design and shape of their cars, and each car does not look exactly the same as the second car. So the official website is www.formula1.com if you were wondering. So just a basic information on what Formula 1 is. I hope this was informative to you. This is not going to be my final video on what Formula 1 is. I'm actually going to make a couple of them, especially for our American brothers and sisters, as we're all